I have an honest question for you. Are you a fan of the Miami Dolphins, or are you a fan of Tua Tagovailoa? While you can indeed be a fan of both, what many Dolphins fans are openly saying is that they are primarily fans of Tua. If that is indeed the case, the Miami Dolphins have a big problem on their hands. Let's talk about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and boys, whatever pronoun you go by, we have reached a point on the highway where we have a big problem with the Miami Dolphins fan base. It has become painfully obvious, painfully clear that at this point, there are two types of fans here in South Florida and across the country. There are those fans who like Tua, and there are those fans who are fans of the team. And there's going to be a small Venn diagram circle of those in the middle. What are we going to do as a fan base to bring this thing together? We're sitting here today, we're seeing what's going on in the country with all the insurrection talk and how there may be a civil war and how things are going. And you could apply that to the Miami Dolphins fan base. There is a particular group of people who find that Tua Tagovailoa is above the team. I don't understand it. I'm tired of trying to understand it, but at this point, it has become painfully obvious to anyone who is willing to look that there is a divide amongst the fan base. At this point, if you talk about bringing any quarterback in besides Tua Tagovailoa, an eruption occurs. And I'm not talking about cutting Tua. I'm not talking about trading Tua. I'm just talking about bringing in competition for Tua. Bringing in somebody that may indeed be an improvement, an upgrade from Tua Tagovailoa. We'll never know unless you try. At this point, so many people are against the idea, just the idea of bringing in another quarterback to compete with Tua Tagovailoa. How can you be a fan of the team if you're not even interested, if you won't even entertain the possibility that there could be an upgrade at the quarterback position? I'm not saying that there is an upgrade. I'm not saying anything about that. I'm just saying that Mike McDaniel and Chris Grier up until now have not shown the openness to even want to bring in somebody to compete against Tua Tagovailoa. And that became extremely evident yesterday when another Dolphin YouTuber put up a poll where he found out that people openly stated that they are fans of Tua first, team second. If you don't find that to be a problem, I don't know what else is a problem. It's right there in front of you. Let's take a look at that from last night's broadcast.
TD posted this, and he said, retweet, offer Tua 4 years at $120 million, $70 million guaranteed. So that's $30 million a year. If declined, trade him or sign Baker Mayfield in free agency on the same deal. Cheaper than the $50 million Tua, and now we afford to sign Wilkins or a combination of Connor, Hunt, Van Ginkel. Baker's similar numbers to Tua. Yes, that's true. Less interceptions for Baker, but more yards for Tua. Amazing idea. First option. Amazing idea. Team first, 71%. Heck no. Tua over team. Tua over team. Why don't you just let that sink in for a second? When you hear some of the people in these comments and you see some of the nuttery going on with Tua and you see what's going on Twitter, understand that nearly 30%, and it's a small sample size, only 200 votes, 30% take Tua over the team. That's what the Miami Dolphins are faced with. Do I think it's 30%? I think if it was a bigger poll and more people responded, I think it'd be about 25, maybe 25, 27%. But they're the most vocal. They're the ones that talk the most shit. They're the ones who are out there saying everything. You're a clown. You're an idiot. You don't know ball. I've heard it all. These people are more fans of Tua than they are the team. And 30% of them weren't shy about saying it. That's what we're dealing with this fan base with the Miami Dolphins. I am so glad that TD put that out there. I am so glad that somebody finally challenged people to show your allegiance. People say, you're not a real fan, Barry. Well, now you need to show your allegiance. I'm going to ask you guys in the chat here. Are you fans of the team or are you more fans of Tua? Because when I saw that, I was like, you know what? Offer Tua 25 or 26 million, bring in somebody like Baker Mayfield, let him take a run at the competition. If Tua doesn't like it, hit the bricks. I'm over it. I am completely over Tua. It's nuts. And these people aren't thinking about football. They're thinking about Tua. I don't know if it came because it was an Alabama football thing or what, but that's nuts. You got 30% of the fan base. So imagine, and again, this isn't scientific, but imagine you've got a 60,000 person stadium and 30% of the people that's in the stands are only there, only give a shit because Tua is the quarterback. And they would probably go scurrying to another team if Tua got traded because that's who they really care about. Why listen to people who feel that way? And if you're in the comments here, and I'll take a look in a second, I don't think we need to even discuss things with you if you can't actually look at things and go, what would be better for the team? Do you think losing Wilkins but giving Tua $50 million is good for the team? You think losing Wilkins and Connor Williams and Robert Hunt because you can't afford to pay them because you're going to get Tua $50 million? That's my QB. That's my man. You're an idiot. I'll be the first to award you Idiot of the Month. If you think it makes more sense to give Tua that kind of money than securing the rest of the team, you're letting us know pretty clearly you're not a fan of the team. You're a fan of Tua. Ask yourself and be honest. If Tua wasn't with the Miami Dolphins next year, would you still be as fervent about watching games and interacting with people, whether it be here or on Twitter or wherever? Would you still watch every single game? Would you go to the games if Tua wasn't the quarterback? I challenge people to tell me that. I challenge you to tell me if Tua wasn't on this team next year, be honest and say, I'm good with that. I'm good if Tua is gone. I'm good if Justin Fields comes in and they, move Tua. I'm good if Tua, says I'm not playing for $25 million and sits out the year. I'm good. I am. I'm fine with it. I want to do what's best for the team. So when people tell me you're a fake fan, no, I'm actually a fan of the team. When you're talking about you don't know ball, well, I know if we could keep Connor Williams and Robert Hunt and bring in some other guys, another left tackle or so, makes sense. How do we do it? Oh, well, we got to pay Tua less so we can make these other deals work. Are you willing to say that? Are you willing to say that maybe we should bring in Baker Mayfield? Maybe we should pay Baker Mayfield $24-25 million. Guy's going to 6X his contract. Remember, he got paid $4 before incentives this year, and he's won 2 playoff games. Tua wants $45+ million. He ain't done shit. Hasn't won a playoff game. Understand that. Baker Mayfield has won 2 playoff games. As recently as this year, he won a playoff game and looked good doing it. Baker Mayfield could be that guy that takes us into December and January. Don't know for sure. He'd have to be brought in and run as competition against Tua. Bring it.
And there you have it. TD Finns put up a poll. He talked about bringing Baker Mayfield in as a potential, upgrade, a competitive quarterback to Tua Tagovailoa. Let the man who wins, last man standing, take over the helm. Could it be an upgrade? I don't know. Is it worth a shot? Absolutely. Why wouldn't you look to improve in every aspect of the game? Why wouldn't you look to improve at every single position? We do it with linebackers. We do it with offensive linemen. We do it with defensive linemen. We cycled in a number of wide receivers this year. You had Tyreek and you had Waddle. Then you had Chase Claypool. Then we have Eric Ezukama. You had Braxton Berrios, and on and on and on. You cycle in more players to see how you can elevate performance. But for some reason, that does not extend to the quarterback position. Is Chris Greer afraid of finding out that his number one draft pick isn't who he thought it was? Is it too embarrassing to understand, hey, listen, we spent a lot of time developing this kid. We brought him as a first draft pick and we find someone who's better. Is that embarrassing, or is it more embarrassing to get bounced out of the playoffs, be one and done, or not even get to the playoffs again next year? Why wouldn't you, as an organization, why wouldn't you, as a fan base, want the best possible team on the field next year? Not saying that Tua isn't, but I know Mike White isn't competition for Tua Tagovailoa. Why not bring somebody in who can incentivize Tua to even perform better than he has played? That can't possibly be a bad thing. I'd love to know what you think, and why is it that the Miami Dolphins refuse to look at an upgrade at the quarterback position? We know Tua is going to be working on his game in the offseason. Do you know that that's going to be an improvement, that it's better than bringing somebody else in for the future? Are you really going to lock into a $45 or $50 million a year contract by a player who hasn't won a playoff game as of yet? Baker Mayfield was a bargain for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They got him for $4 or $5 million plus some incentive bonuses, and he won a playoff game this year. Tua, you're looking, he got paid $23 million, no results. Nothing happened. Gone. Next year, 45, 50, and you really don't even know if he can lead this team to a playoff victory. Not even to the Super Bowl. We're talking a playoff victory. Why not bring somebody in who's cheap enough to make the game worthwhile, to see if there is a competitive QB out there that could be an upgrade for the Miami Dolphins? And again, before I close, I'm not saying trade him. I'm not saying cut him. All I'm saying, which shouldn't be problematic, is bring in true competition. Not a scrub like Mike White, not somebody playing with the second team, going, equal reps with the first team. Letting this guy run the offense as well as let Tua run the offense and see who does better. That's where I am. That's what this video is about. Let me know what you think about bringing in competition to compete with Tua Tagovailoa. Talk to you soon.